After a stunning start to the series, which commenced back in 2010 and boasts such illustrious names as Lando Norris, Marco Ardigo, Nick de Vries, Paolo De Conto, to name just a few as its former champions, the WSK Supermaster Series arrives here at the 21st circuit that WSK Promotion has ever raced at in its 18-year history. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Franciacorta. This incredible circuit, which was reconstructed in 2020, is the host venue for round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series for 2023. Well, you can see on your screen it is a glorious sunny day, but I can promise you it was not that way this morning. The heavy fog rolled in the north of Italy and it delayed practice somewhat. This is a record-breaking event, we should add. 361 drivers from 53 nations all around the world, including 105 drivers in the junior category. The junior class is the first of our finals here this afternoon. Before we do race the junior final, let's take a look at some of the highlights from OK Junior from Franciacorta here this week. The WSK Champions Cup champion, Lewis Werrell, that's him to the left of your screen. We say welcome back to Lewis. Of course, he missed the first round of the championship due to injury. Wow, what a comeback for the Englishman. Starts out of pole position for the Forza Racing team, who he took to victory in the Champions Cup 3 weeks ago. The sun is finally shining, 11 degrees Celsius at the tail end of the Italian winter. Heavy fog, we could not see one corner from the next early this morning, which delayed the morning warm-up. In fact, the warm-up was cancelled. We went straight into the 3 remaining heats this morning, the pre-finals, which we've just concluded, and we're ready to race the first of our 5 finals here this afternoon. The list is impressive. The circuits which we have raced at in the past, of course, La Conca Muro-Lecese World Circuit, Lonato, where we kicked off the series, Marienburg in Belgium, Jesolo to the north of Venice, Sarno, where we race in 2 weeks' time, Zuera in Spain, Angeville outside Paris, Castelletto di Branduzzo, Genk in Belgium, Salbury, another Parisian circuit, beautiful Portimao in the south of Portugal on the Algarve coast, Millville in the United States of America, Sharm el-Sheikh, the track in Egypt. We've raced at Siena, we've raced at Val Vibrata, at Viterbo, Ortona, Val d'Argenton in France, Lignano, Adria, and here at Franciacorta. This is the grid for the junior final. Lewis on pole position alongside Elliot Kaczynski, Nicholas Schaufler and Costoya on the second row. Martinez, Salim Hane Hernandez, Filippo Sala, Thibaut Ranekers, Slater and DVL. Stepan Antonov, Lito Lunita from Mallorca in the middle of the Mediterranean on the world debut for the Prema Power team. Scott Lindblom, watch out for the Swede alongside the Texan Jack. And then it's Zach, the Glaswegian, alongside Kirill Ditsiev. Peschel, Kantan, Noah Wolf, and the defending champion, Alexander Bondarev. Boris Wisheni, the Australian Lewis Francis, the German Ian Kralik, and the Finn, Sebastian Letomaki. Shinmark, Botaro, Klara Kovalchik, Jerry Skulinov, Louis Cochet, and the Hungarian Bennett Gaspar. Toniolo, the race 1 winner, the round 1 winner, Alpak Soy, is ahead of the South African Ethan Lennon, Lev Krutogolov, Taim Saylor, and Roman Kamyab out of grid 36. Alpak Soy racing with a heavy heart this weekend. Of course, we had 2 Turkish victories in round 1 of the championship. Iskander Zulfikari winning 60 Mini and Alpak Soy with a fabulous win. A heroic drive in OK Junior just a few hours before his home nation was devastated by that 7.8 magnitude earthquake. Lewis from Lincolnshire, the WSK Champions Cup champion, on pole position for the first time here at Franciacorta. We race. Perfect start from Werrell, who leads down into turn one. Schaufler, the Austrian, dives down the inside. We've lost one of the Ward Racing Tony Karts into the grass backwards. And going out, it was Kaczynski. No, from the front of the grid, he has managed to do a complete 360 and rejoin Elliot Kaczynski in 3:36, position 36. He's dead last. What a disaster for the Swede, who was expected to fight for the lead. Lewis goes P1. They go down the back straight for the first time. This 14-lap final, round 2 of the Supermaster Series. Schaufler, the Austrian, in P2. Schaufler, the Austrian, in P3. He's just been passed. The Kart Republic of Jacopo Martinezzi dives down the inside into La Foresteria, the Hotel Hairpin, and the Italian, position 2. Costoya just behind in 4th place, and then Filippo Sala, Slater, Salim Hernandez, Ramakers, Stepan Antonov, and Dries van Langendonk in position 10. Lewis Werrell, if he can get a bit of a gap, if the Forza Racing Esprit can pull away, we know it will come on strong later on in the race. They won't say which way he went, but at the moment, he's only got 0.2 of a second back to the Italian, Jacopo Martinezzi. That'll come down to 0 as he gives the slipstream down into the Hotel Hairpin. There's the 2 Ricky Flynn Motorsport teammates just behind. Alfie Slater, 3.27. Salim Hernandez, 3.28. Remember, the Colombian qualified 85th and dead last at Lonato. Fought back to finish on the podium. At the moment, the South American is in position 6. Still, Lewis does just lead as they go down into turn 4. But he's coming under pressure from Jacopo Martinezzi in the Kart Republic. Costoya in P3 goes by the Pink Panther, the Austrian for DPK Racing. Schaufler in P4. Sala in the Sodi Kart, the Italian in the French Sodi Kart, won the pre-final this morning. As we see, it looked to be Stepan Antonov running off the road. The Russian, that's effectively the end of his race. He was in position 9. He did win one of his heats on Friday, but he's now coming across the line in position 13. He's effectively out of it. Lewis has got the lead from Martinez, Costoya, Schaufler, Sala. Down the inside, and Costoya, vamos! The Spaniard into second. Schaufler follows him through. Nice move down the inside by Salim Hernandez. And he picks up the place as well from Thibaut Ramakers. Dries van Langendonk, Jack ahead of Zach, and then Lito Lunita in position 12. This is lap 4 of 14. Lewis praying that behind him they start to fight, but Jacopo Martinez is staying with him. Costoria, I should say, Martinez in position 3. Ramakers down the inside of Schaufler. And the first of the RFM drivers goes through. Jacopo Martinezzi and Filippo Sala, the Italians, in 3rd and 4th. Martinezzi, last year, he won the first ever running of the WSK Mini Super Cup at La Conca. Was running in P2 earlier on. He's got Sala, his determined countryman, in the Sodi Kart just behind him. Lewis cannot shake the group. The gap is 0.19 of a second as Jack in P10 ahead of Zach and Luna. He set the fastest lap of the race. That Texan, who was fastest in his qualifying group with a 48.129 on Friday, trying to drag himself into the fight for the lead. Dries van Langendonk, Nicolas Schaufler just ahead. Sala down the inside, and the Italians trade positions into La Foresteria, into the Hotel Hairpin. And Filippo says, let's go, mate. And the Italians trade. Sala now up into 3rd place. Oh, more accurately, it was probably andiamo amico. Stanno scappando. Sala signals to Martinez, different teams. They're from the host nation here in Italy. And he's pulled away already from Martinez. Can he catch Costoya? The Sodi Kart Sigma with superb speed. Costoya in the Paralin. The Matchak Tune TM engine on the Esprit Kart for Forza Racing. Lewis from Lincolnshire in P1. The gap 0.232 of a second. It will come down as they go down the back straight. 127 k's an hour. Incredibly, Stepan Antonov has dragged himself back into this battle despite being in the grass on the opening lap. We start the second half of the race. This is the start of lap 7 of 14, the OK Junior Final, round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series, live from the first time at the Franciacorta circuit. Fastest driver on the circuit is Jack Iliff. He's in P9. The North American ahead of the South American Salim Hanna Hernandez. Last year's WSK Open Cup champion for RFM. Of course, Alexander Bondarev winning the title in 2022 for Ricky Flynn's team, but it does not look like he'll repeat it in 2023. The Ukrainian in P12 ahead of the Glaswegian. Zach Drummond, Slater back to 14, Skulinov 15, ahead of Ditsiev, Lindblom, Peschel, and the round 1 winner, Alpak Soy. He won at Lonato with that brilliant drive. The Turk in position 19. Elliot Kaczynski, after being turned around on the opening corner of the opening lap, he is still circulating, but he's way down in 29th position. 2 places behind Tayem Sala, who stood on the podium in the season opening WSK Champions Cup, behind the driver who leads on your screen, Lewis Werrell. They haven't made an attack on him yet. Kostoya will get the slipstream. Downhill, down the back straight, looks over his right shoulder. 126.27 k's an hour. Kostoya down the inside. Lewis gets him back on the exit. What a move from the Englishman. That was just brilliant from Lewis Werrell. Takes him back. Does not want to follow. Wants to lead. Does Lewis. Kostoya makes the move early. Was it too early? We're about to find out. Possibly so, because Sala up the inside and Kostoya withstands the attack. Around the outside goes Antonov, Martinez, Schaufler and Thibaut Ramakers. The Belgian for the Belgian VDK Racing team may well come good towards the end of this race. This is lap 9 of 14. Lewis leads just from Kostoya. Again, looks over his shoulder, looks right, looks left. Look at Sala down the inside of the circuit. There's Martinez, there's still the Italians in 3rd and 4th. Nice move around the outside by Nicholas Schaufler. In fact, it was Ramakers on Schaufler. Down into turn 1, the gap 0.12 of a second. It's not even a kart length, it's not even the width of a nose cone. Now the front 2 starting to pull away. Kostoya has already made 1 move for the lead. It did not work. Lewis got him back on the exit. Kostoya and Werrell both driving TM karts. TM powered karts, but very different chassis. The OTK Xpree and the Paralin in 2nd place. Sala in the Sodi kart falls back to P4. Stepan Antonov, I told you early on he was out of it. May well have to eat my words, because that is the Russian. He's flying. What a recovery. Schaufler down the inside, the Pink Panther for DPK Racing. Well, he's still as quick as he ever was in 2022, despite racing in different colours for the new season, as Kostoya and Lewis Werrell leads. Lap 11 of 14. Kostoya needs to be precise, making the move. Stepan Antonov is about to make a fool out of me. He was back in 11th place. He was off the road. He was in the grass. The Russian is coming. He's in P3. They come down the hill. He's reeling them in. Lewis Werrell will be praying that he makes a move on Kostoya that goes wrong. 1 kart off in the background. Track limits. Find some grass. Lewis looks over his left shoulder, looks right, goes into the middle of the circuit. And now it's a 3 kart fight for the lead. 3 laps, just under 4 kilometres to race. They come out of La Foresteria here at Franciacorta. Antonov with some horsepower. Boy, closes up on the back of Kostoya in 2nd place as Thibaut Ramakers takes Sala for P4. It's about to be a 4 kart fight. Hold on to your hats, folks. This is about to kick off big time. The dying stages of the junior final. Round 2 of the 2023 WSK Supermaster Series for the first time at Franciacorta. Antonov moves down the inside. Kostoya back to 3rd. Ramakers tries to make him. Don't discount Schaufler as well. What a race here this afternoon. Again, look at Lewis just staring at the Russian. Ramakers is out. Incredibly keeps it going. contact between the Belgian and the Austrian as the Englishman does just hold on to the lead. 2 laps to go for Lewis. The order at the bottom of your screen changing every lap, changing every corner. It's changing before I finish this sentence because Schaufler down the inside, up into third, can't do it. Stepan Antonov on the outside, leaves the door open. Oh no, it all goes wrong for Stepan Antonov. Was trying to make a move for the lead on Lewis Werrell. He's back to P4. Kostoya back into second place. Last lap of the race next time round. Watch Lewis stare over his shoulder. Looks right, looks left. Just eyeballs the Spaniard. Puts the kart in the middle of the circuit. Schaufler says, if you don't pass him, I will. The Pink Panther goes P2. This is the last lap of the race. 1,301 metres to race. Watch him defend into turn 1. Stepan Antonov still in P3. Schaufler in 2. Lewis Werrell was back to second place for all of about 10 metres halfway through the race. They touch further back in the pack. Sala around the outside. The Italian fighting for the podium. Can he win it? This is on. They race down the hill for the final time. Into turns 8, 9. Moves down the inside. No, it's gone wrong for Lewis. He's back to P2. This is going to be an incredible win for Stepan if he can hold on to it. Into La Foresteria, into the hotel hairpin for the final time. Lewis dives down the inside. The Russian holds him off. Schaufler around the outside. The Austrian there side by side up to the line. The checkered flag waves. Schaufler wins. What a race here this afternoon. The Pink Panther does it. Nicholas Schaufler takes an incredible victory in round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series for the very first time at Franciacorta. Schaufler wins 0.075 of a second, Antonov second, and Lewis third. Whilst that was going on, Dries van Langentonk has come home P4. He took Sala on the last lap of the race. Zach in P6 from Salimane Hernandez. Scott in position 10. Schaufler, the Austrian, wins for DPK Racing. Antonov P2 and Lewis after leading for the majority of the final. He's back, he took pole position. He is the Champions Cup champion. He finishes on the podium, but it's the third step here this afternoon. Schaufler with an incredible victory in round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series for the very first time here at Franciacorta. He stood on the podium in P2 in the WSK Champions Cup, ahead of Tayem Saylor and behind Lewis Werrell, but here at Franciacorta, he takes revenge. Nicholas Schaufler, the Austrian for the Spanish DPK Racing Team, wins round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series. Stay with us on WSK.IT and Motorsport TV. The podium presentation in just a moment. An incredible podium about to be presented here this afternoon. What an incredible race for the OK Junior Final. The drivers make their way up to the podium and the order changed on every lap of the race. And with that, we're ready to get underway with the podium presentation for the OK Junior Final. In third place for the Forza Racing team from the Kings, England, it is Lewis Wirrell. He was on the grass on the opening lap, an incredible comeback. P2 for Kart Republic, Stefan Antonov. He finished P2 in the WSK Champions Cup, and he's just won one of the most incredible races in history. Welcome to the top step of the podium for DPK Racing, the Austrian, the Pink Panther, Niklas Scheffler. The third place trophy to Lewis Wirrell of England. The second place trophy to Stefan Antonov for Kart Republic. The winner of round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series, the Austrian Niklas Scheffler. The national anthem of Austria. The podium for round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series. Third place, Lewis Wirrell, Stefan Antonov, Niklas Scheffler takes the win.
No, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways.
A quick word with the race winner. Don't need to get onto the top step. Congratulations, Lewis and Stefan. Niklas, what a final lap. That was incredible, mate.
I mean, it was a hard race, but finally the final lap was good.
Congratulations, you deserve it. We'll see you in Sano in 2 weeks' time. Stay with us on WSK.it. We continue racing live from Franciacorta in just a moment.
Along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on
under-10 mini-final. Antoine Venant looking to go 2 in a row before we race. Let's check out some of the highlights from this week here at Franciacorta. Antoine Venant, he came second in the WSK Champions Cup with a last lap move to Alexander Legenki, who starts just a few places behind him on the grid in just a moment. But boy, did he fight back. And he won round 1 of the WSK Supermaster Series just 2 weeks ago, just up the highway at Franciacorta Kart in Lonato. The sun is shining, the karts are on the circuit. Thankfully, I'm pleased to say, so are the grid girls. Really? F1, still no grid girls? How long has it been? We all want them back. We've got them here in WSK, and they're in the middle of the 60 mini under-10 drivers. Antoine Venant, we'll see him when the graphic removes in just a moment. On the left of screen, he took the victory for the DAP team, led by the Kiddix Driver Academy of Alessandro and Natalia Levrati. Starts out at pole position 5-4-3 alongside Achille Ray in the CRG. He may well be a driver to look out for here in the under-10 mini-final. Such is the strength of the mini category. We've got 2 categories of mini drivers. The traditional 60 under mini class, and then the under-10 for the younger drivers, who no doubt we will see on the grids of World Motorsport in the decades to come. "36 karts are on the grid from the original entries here. 361 drivers from 53 nations all around the world for this record-breaking event, round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series for 2023. So the girls leave the circuit, sadly, and Antoine Venant will lead the field away for this final in just a few moments' time. There is Antoine here in the sunshine to the left of your screen. Achille Ray, 553 to CRG out of grid 2. Maximus Unt, the Swede, looking to knock the Belgian off the top spot. There's the green flag flying. The karts fire into life, all 36 of them. And with that, we'll take a look at the grid. Venant on pole position, Ray out of 2. Unt, Orlando on the second row of the grid, Stanfascio for Spirit Racing. Alexander Legenki out of 6. Moscardi, Albert Tam, Nicolo Perico, and Nikita Botte out of position 10. The 6th row of the grid, it is Mason Robinson, the Scottish Spaniard, and De Kleine Kumpen, that is Henri Constant, the Belgian, the second-generation racer out of 12. Colucci, Justo, Truchot, and the fastest qualifier, the Australian Sebastian Escandari. Naj, Rovelli, Didier Krift. And then we go to Mark Lumes, Mini Kutzkov, that's Daniel alongside Leo Gorski, Antonio Chepa, Xavier Lozaro, Renka, Kovalos, Cal Nelejad, Enya Pezzuto, Sereotto, Alex Malotta for the Firefly Racing Team. And then Christophe Killer, Timothy Dogbay, I should say. Simonek, Andrei Kruglik, Oliver Svinger for Zanki Motorsport, and for Virus Racing 574, just scraping into the final, the Italian Lorenzo Di Pietrantonio. Here at the Franciacorta circuit, as they go down into La Foresteria, down into the Hotel Hairpin, which is still under construction. You can see to the right of your screen, which should be operational by the time we come back to race here the WSK Euro Series in September. Vanant on pole position, cops a tap from Maximus in the back. Will lead the field up to the line. We race. Perfect start from Vanant from pole position, just accelerates down into turns 1 and 2. And Maximus in second place from the second row of the grid follows him through. Good start also from Achille Ray, despite starting on the outside row of the grid. It is a distinct disadvantage here at Franciacorta, but he's managed to scrape through. He's in position 4 in the early stages. Stan Fajot for Spirit Racing, the French driver for the Swiss team, in position 3. They come down the hill for the first time. Vanant in position 1 has got tremendous speed on what is now one of the fastest circuits in the world. 1,301 metres of the Franciacorta circuit as Stan goes side by side with Maximus. The Ward Racing driver is on the outside and he's been pushed back to position 3. The CRG in position 4. There's Michele Orlando in the Formula K behind as they come across the line to complete lap 1. The Italians in 4, 5 and 6. Davide Moscardi in 6th ahead of Roland Nage. Legenki back to 8th. He did not get a good start. Eduardo Colucci. Truchot, who last week wrapped up the Scusa Winter Series at Miami, Florida, on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. Truchot finished P3 a week ago. At the moment, he's in 10th ahead of Henri Coupin, Sebastian Escandari, the Australian, the Queenslander, the fastest qualifier, the first Australian to take pole position in WSK racing since Jack Doohan at Adria in 2017. Antoine Vanant down the back straight. You can see that Achille Ray has also gone through on Maximus Unt. The Ward Racing Tony Kart back into P4. Antoine Vanant being attacked but holds on to the lead from Stan. A complete lap 2, the 60 Mini under 10 final here for the first time at Franciacorta. Right down the inside, the CRG goes through to position 2 and Maximus follows him up onto the provisional podium. The French driver for Spirit Racing, Stan Fajot, back to P4. Orlando Legenki starting to make his way up through the field. The WSK Champions Cup champion. He led the final at South Garda Karting Lonato until the penultimate corner 2 weeks ago. And now the Ukrainian, the first Ukrainian, is now up into P6. The second is Nikita Botte, who's behind Mason Robertson, Truchot and Mini Kutskov. Botte in P14. Maximus Unt pulls out and blocks the line from Stan. There's Orlando in the background catching them. Truchot trying to make his way up through the field. And Henri Constant Coupin having a great run despite racing with a burnt hand this weekend. His right hand is in absolute agony after suffering quite severe burns a week ago. He's bandaged up and he's quick. He's behind the pole sitter, Sebastian Escandari in P8. Mini Kutskov from grid 21. That's Daniel up into 10th. So the front 2 now pull away. Antoine Vanant and the CRG of the Italian Achille Ray. The fight for third, it's about to be a 4-card fight as Maximus Unt behind Stan Fajot. Spirit Racing versus Ward Racing. They go down the hill. The gap between the first group and the second group is 0.4 of a second. Still over 100 k's an hour into La Foresteria, into the Hotel Hairpin. There's Orlando in the background in the Formula K kart. Davide Moscardi, the Italian, has been given a 10-second penalty. He comes across the line in 17th, but with that penalty applied, that puts Davide Moscardi for AV Racing, who started on the 4th row of the grid, down in 29th place. He's effectively out of it. So Vanant from Achille Ray, the gap 0.1 of a second. You can see it's not even 1 kart length. Then back to Stan and Maximus. Michele Orlando is catching all 4 in front. The Formula K driver with Alexander Legenki behind him. To Kleine Kumpen, Henry up into position 7. Kutskov from 21st. There's the baby race driver in the background. The 2 baby race drivers, Kumpen and Kutskov. Henri in 5.34, Daniel in 5.24 ahead of Colucci, and they've both gone by the pole sitter, the fastest qualifier, Sebastian Escandari. half race distance, and Achille Ray is just keeping Antoine Venant right in front of him. The Belgian cannot shake the Italian in the CRG. Venant leading the championship in the DAP. If he takes 2 wins here, well, he'll almost have one hand on the trophy going into Sano in 2 weeks' time. The battle for third still between Stan and Maximus. There's Orlando in the background, P5, Legenki, Kumpen and Kutskov. Down into the hotel hairpin, Maximus down the inside. And he puts Stan back to P4. With that, Michele Orlando will bridge the gap ever so slightly as we move into the second half of the race. 0.15 of a second between Venant and Ray, but critically only 0.6 of a second between Ray and Maximus Unt in third place. Leo Gorski down in 22nd, but has just done the fastest lap of the race of 54.423. Gorski is 0.3 of a second faster than the race leader, but it counts for nothing for the London Cup champion. He's way down the field despite going quicker than the drivers on your screen as Maximus has to defend in position 3. Orlando is catching them. Achille Ray's just waiting for his opportunity, which may be now because he's been caught himself by the Ward Racing Tony Kart driver. Orlando desperately trying to drag himself into this battle as well. There's the Formula K in P5. Antoine Venant in the DAP. P1. 0.16 of a second to the CRG. It's about to be a 4-kart fight for the lead. This is lap 8 of 10. Achille Ray, this is the time for the Italian to pass the Belgian. Stan Fajot for the Spirit Racing team that have had so much success in single make racing over the past decade. The Swiss team, they're in P4. They're off the podium at the moment. Antoine Venant looking to go 2 in a row down the back straight to complete lap 8. Maximus has to defend. Look at Stan wave. Says, go, boy, go. The leaders are pulling away, and Stan knows it. Maximus tries to defend, and look who's come to fight. It's a 3-kart battle for the final step of the podium. We start the penultimate lap of the race right down the inside. Venant closes the door. That was a brave move by the Belgian. Achille Ray needs to do better than that. And here's another opportunity into turn 4. They climb the hill. He needs to be careful because Stan, Michele, and Maximus are right there. There's the Formula K. He's going to catch them by surprise imminently. Stan knows that Antoine and Achille are pulling away, and now they've got to fight with the Formula K driver who dives down the inside. Orlando goes P4, but Stan gets him back on the exit. Down into the hotel hairpin for the penultimate time. He goes right, he goes left, still holds the traditional line. Fajot on the inside of Maximus. Watch Orlando! The Formula K around the outside. What a move by Michele! This is the last lap of the race. Le dernier tour pour Antoine Venant. Le petit pilote Belgique dans la première place. Can he go 2 in a row? He looks over his shoulder as they race down the hill into turn 4. The fight for the final step of the podium, it is on. Maximus holds it just for the moment. Venant being shadowed by the Italian in the CRG, Achille Ray. There is one opportunity left, and Achille Ray knows it. He's trying to get the run. Watch the Belgian white line it. He'll come onto the straight and go to the right, to your left. And Achille Ray, he'll sweep around the outside. He knows they're too far back. Unt for the moment. He's in P3. Watch the CRG sweep around the outside. They'll be side by side. Will he run out of road? He'll have the momentum. The CRG goes through and he wins it. Achille Ray, that was an intelligent pass. Antoine Venant does not go 2 in a row. The Belgian is denied by 0.19 of a second. Orlando, the Italian, on the podium in the Formula K in position 3. Achille Ray, that was a super move. And the CRG driver takes the victory in round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series here at Franciacorta. Side by side, he had the momentum. He knew it. And he punched the air into light. CRG have won. And Antoine Venant finishes in P2. Ray with the victory. Venant in P2. And a super performance for Michele Orlando. The Formula K on the podium in position 3. Then it was Stanfajol, Maximus Horn. Great drive from them all race. Kutskov, Lekenki. Henri Compen inside the top 10. Beats home the fastest qualifiers. Sebastian Eskandari and Nikita Potte. The Ukrainian, the second Ukrainian, finishes position 10. Ray takes the victory, and with that, we'll stand on the top step of the podium in just a moment.
So soon, didn't wanna make you run around, 'cause it seems I tripped up once again. Now I'm lying down again, staring up into a cloud of questions. Why? Blurry visions through tired eyes. Got a lot of things that I need to say, got a lot of things that I need to find a way to rest my head. Just trying to clear my eyes. Why did I let you walk away? Why did I let you walk away?
Just waiting for Antoine Venant to come up to the podium, and we'll be underway with the mini under 10 podium presentation from Franciacorta in just a moment. Don't forget, we go to Circuito Internazionale Napoli, simply known as Sarno, for the third round of the series in 2 weeks' time, when winter will be well and truly over. Here comes Antoine, the winner. Well, the second place driver, the winner of the first round of the series, but he's come second here today. the Italians first and third, the Belgian in second place. And with that, we are ready to get underway with the podium presentation for the 60 Mini Under 10 final. A brilliant drive, he hunted them down in third place. The Italian for Team Formula K, Michele Orlando. In second place, the Belgian for the Kiddix Driver Academy in the Tap Kart Republic, Antoine Vernon. Che vittoria per l'italiano qui a Franciacorta per Team GRG. L'italiano, il vincitore, Achille Rai. The third place trophy to Michele Orlando of Italia. Second place to the Belgian Antoine Vernon. Il vincitore, l'italiano Team GRG, Achille Rai. The national anthem of Italia. The podium for the 60 Mini Under 10 final. Third place, Michele Orlando. Antoine Vernon, the Belgian P2. Achille Rai vince qui a Franciacorta. Una parola con il vincitore Achille. Bravo Michele, super felicitazioni ancora Antoine. Achille, che gara, come ti senti?
Molto bene. Allora, non mi aspettavo di vincere. Poi l'ultima curva Antoine è andato stretto e sono riuscito a incrociare.
Grande, grande, bravissimo, bravissimi infatti Michele Orlando, Antoine Vernon, deuxième place, il vincitore Achille Rai. The 60 Mini Group 3 final live from Franciacorta in just a moment. The Mini Under 10 final in just a moment. It was a brilliant race at Lonato, and it promises to be just as good here at Franciacorta this afternoon. Noah Backlund, the Brit, will start on pole position alongside Dean Hugendorn. Before we race, let's check out some of the highlights from Franciacorta this week. Here we are at Franciacorta, ready to go for the 60 mini final. The brilliant Brit, Noah Baglan will start on pole position. Alongside Dean the Dutchman, as we take a breath here, it has been a brilliant week of racing, as you saw in some of the highlights just there. Thankfully, the track is now dry. It was covered in fog. It was an absolute London P super this morning. But it has cleared and we are ready to race the 10-lap mini final here this afternoon. We'll go through the grid for you in just a moment. Noah Baglan, he won the pre-final at Lonato. He won the pre-final this morning as well in the iKart entry. And he starts out of grid 1. Of course, Iskander Zulfikari, who has dominated 60 mini racing for the past 6 months or so. He won the WSK Final Cup to finish 2022. He won the season opening WSK Champions Cup, and he won 2 weeks ago the first round of the Supermaster Series just down the road at Franciacorta Kart in Lonato. Iskander Zulfikari racing with a heavy heart this weekend. Of course, he took that victory at Lonato just hours before his country, his home country of Turkey, was devastated by an earthquake of 7.8 magnitude, which has claimed, sadly, tragically, almost 40,000 lives so far. Iskander Zulfikari racing proudly for his home nation of Turkey, and he starts on the second row of the grid for the Brescian baby race team. There is a lot of pressure on Iskander, not for what I just mentioned alone, but simply because he's been the driver to beat in 60 Mini, as has Team Baby Race. But Noah Baglan in the Miami-powered Kart Republic, the iKart entry, the Londoner, one of the younger drivers in the mini final. Of course, they're all baby young before they go up to OK Junior. There is the sun shining here at Franciacorta. Dean to the right of your screen. Of course, he qualified on pole position for the WSK Mini Super Cup at La Conca Muro Lecce in 2022, before finishing in second place to Jacopo Martinez, who is now racing in OK Junior in 2023. As the grid girls, sadly, leave the circuit and we get ready to race 36 karts on circuit for the mini final over 10 laps of the newly reconstructed Franciacorta circuit, 1,301 metres. One of the fastest circuits in the world, now ranking up there with the likes of Zuera, Portimao and also Sano, where we race in 2 weeks' time. Round 3 of the WSK Supermaster Series. We'll see you at Circuito Internazionale Napoli, simply known as Sano. But before then, we race the final for 60 Mini. Iskander Zulfikari with the right arm seemingly in the air on the second row of the grid. Let's hope he doesn't have a problem. No, he's just relaxing. He's ready to go. Anxious for Noah Baglan to fire up the Miami-powered Kart Republic, which he does, but very slowly. Is to start out of pole position. Now gets it fired up, but he's slow. Baglan out of pole position alongside Dean the Dutchman. Iskander out of 3 and Sheyu Shen out of 4. Bereshkan, Bosco, Barghouti and Eiley Christian. Asher Rockstein, the Floridian, alongside the Melbourner, or the Melbourneite. I should know better than that. It's William Kalija out of 10, then it's Melvin Kalalsian, Cini, Grich, Vladimir Ivaninkov, Mariano Lopez, Coxmo Christopher, Blanco, Russo, Devon Waltz, and Ludovico Mazzola. George Edgar, another racing Edgar, starts out at 22 alongside Luba Roykov, Kingsley Jean, Matsinas, Miguez, Emilio Bird, Diamico, the Serbian Luka Malbasha, Cristiano Blandino, and Mats van Rooyen van the Netherlands. Valerio Villapiana, Kaya Satsica, Pobarash, the Slovenian, the Californian Bronson Kustas, Francois Kurtel, and Matteo Millis on the final row of the grid. The pressure, in more ways than one, is on the Turk, Iskander Zulfikari. The sun is shining here at Franciacorta, the 21st circuit the WSK promotion has raced at in its 18-year history. Baglan, the Brit, the Londoner, to start on pole position, but was slow getting away from the grid. You can see Iskander Zulfikari to start on the inside second row of the grid. Baglan is not there. The kart did not fire. Baglin is about to miss the start. Iskander Zulfikari cannot jump it. Has to hold back on the second row of the grid, which he does. They come up to the line. We race. No problem, though, for Iskander Zulfikari. Goes wide, though. And Ilya Bereshkin tries to follow through. There's carnage at turn one. Baglin's out of it. He's missed the start. You saw the kart was slow to leave the grid. It did fire, but then it stalled again. The brilliant Brit has got no luck. He's missed the start of the final. Watch for Dean to come charging on through. An incident with Lorenzo D'Amico, Mats van Rooyen, Oscar Pobaraj and Matthew Melis further back in the field. They've all managed to rejoin, but a long way down, with the exception of the Slovenian Oscar Pobaraj. There they are in the background. Oscar is out. Zulfikari from the second row of the grid had to hold back. Let's hope he did do the right thing. It was difficult to judge from our vantage position. Regardless, he goes P1. That's a good start by the CRG. Up into position 3. Oxteen just leads Shen, who's qualified on fastest in his group. Qualified fastest with a 53.714. On Friday, there is the Chinese driver in position 4 behind the driver. In the CRG, the 555 of the Floridian. But it's Zulfikari looking to go 3 in a row. The Turk under pressure from Ilya Bereshkin for Team Gamoto. But he's pushed out wide. Asher sends it on through, and Bereshkin goes back to 4th place. The American on the back of the Turk with so much pressure on him. It's early stages. This is lap 2 of 10. They go down the back straight, but the American needs business. But he's passed. A move down the inside by Shen. There's Bereshkin back in P4. Ili Christian, the Canadian on the outside, is about to run out of road. He kicks up the dust, but he just keeps on trucking, does the Canadian. He's ahead of Pietro Baguti, Lopez, Grich, Kalausian, Vladimir Ivanikov, and Bogdan Cosmo Christopher. William Kalija, the driver from Melbourne, Australia, is back in position 14 ahead of Devon Waltz, who joins us after racing in the Scusa Winter Series 7 days ago at Miami in Florida on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. He's behind Bogdan Cosmo Christopher, who's just done a purple sector. Noah Baglin has rejoined. In fact, that was him in the background. He's way down in 33rd position. He's just hit the fastest lap of the race at 54.262, but he will not win here this afternoon. I'll tell you what, Sheu Zhen might. The Chinese driver just goes on through and goes P1. The American in the CRG falls back into position 14. The Dutchman. Don't discount Hugendorn, who's in P5 for the Kiddix Driver Academy. Zulfikari retakes the top spot. Bereshkin for Team Gamoto. He was pushed almost off the road 1 lap ago, but there he is. The Russian for the Sicilian team in P2. Iskander. What a story this would be if he can go 3 weeks in a row. At the moment, he's in position 1. It's a 6-kart fight for the lead. As Shen down the inside retakes P2. Watch Asher Oxteen. The American with the South Korean heritage driving the 555 CRG is behind the Paralin Opportunity. In fact, the opportunities, plural. They run 1 and 2 for 2 different teams. Shen for AV Racing. And of course, Iskander Zulfikari for Team Baby Race. Hugendorn up into P4. Hugendorn up into P3. Slams it down the inside. And he puts the American Oxteen back off the podium. Super pass from the determined Dutchman, Dean Hugendorn. Now up onto the podium. Watch him fight. Does not want to finish P2 again. Second in the WSK Mini Super Cup at La Conca in 2022 to Jacopo Martinez. Has qualified fastest, has finished on the podium, but desperately wants to stand up on the top step here this afternoon. He may well do it. He's on the back of Shen as they go down the back straight. The Chinese driver will punch a hole in the air. Iskander Zulfikari will do it for both of them as he dives down the inside. Dean the Dutchman on the charge. Hugendorn through to position 2. Oxteen runs out of road in the CRG half race distance. The 60 mini final here at Franciacorta. Bereshkin back to 6. Look at Arias Bosco. Vamos, Arias. He's now in the fight for the lead as well. Arias Bosco in 5.05 for Team Driver. Oxteen pushed out wide. That may well cost the American dramatically. Iskander Zulfikari, this is ominous. He's starting to build up a little bit of a gap. He will punch a hole in the air for, I was going to say, Dean Hugendorn. It's not the case though. Dean's back to 2, to 3, to 4, to 5. And now he goes will to will with Asher Oxteen, but the American gets the momentum. Arias Bosco for team driver. And Badeshkin also for team driver, I should say. They start lap 7. Arias in second place. Well, can the Spaniard take the fight to Iskander once again? Asher on the outside. And Dean back into P5. He will be immensely frustrated. That graphic at the bottom of your screen has already been made redundant with the repass of Hugendorn into P5. So let's see if Arias can catch up to the back of Iskander, who is racing with mixed feelings here this afternoon after the devastating earthquake in his home country of Turkey, just hours after he won round 1 of the WSK Supermaster Series at Lonato 2 weeks ago. Shan back up into position 3. Retakes the place from Badeshkin. Oxteen down the inside. Dean Hugendorn will be absolutely metaphorically tearing his hair out. He's in P6. He was trying to attack Iskander for the lead, but now he's not even on the podium. Lap 8 of 10. Zulfikari, Bosco, and Sheyu Shen. The gap is 0.404 of a second. Dean tries again. Goes by the American Asher Oxteen in the 555 CRG. Incidentally, no problem for Zulfikari off the start. Noah Baglin missed it. He is still circulating, but down in 29th position. The 6 on your screen, it's starting to be a battle of 2. Arias Bosco is running out of time. We'll check the gap next time round. He will gain something here. Down the back straight, Arias Bosco, the Iami-powered Kart Republic. And Iskander Zulfikari, the Iami-powered Paralin 14 Baby Race in first place. Under the bridge here at Franciacorta. The gap 0.4 of a second, 0.2. Bosco's catching him. Arias up into P2, takes 0.2 of a second. He's right behind the Turk. The battle for third is Badeshkin, Shen, Hugendorn, Oxteen, and also the Canadian Eiley Christian. Oxteen on the inside. Pietro Boguti in P8 ahead of Ivan Inkov and Bruno Grich. Then it's BCC and Billy C. Cosmo Christopher and Kalija, 11 and 12. Now Zulfikari has to defend and needs to hold on for his life, but Arias wants to take the lead here. Here's an opportunity down into La Foresteria, into the hotel hairpin. Zulfikari goes defensive, no problem for Bosco. Tries their high line, but runs out of road. Out of the hotel hairpin. This is the last lap of the race. What a fairy tale finish it would be for Zulfikari, but he leaves the door open. Contact between Bosco and Zulfikari. Sends it up the inside, but runs into the back of the Baby Race Paralin. Now he goes defensive. Arias around the outside. Zulfikari closes the door. This is one of the fastest tracks in the world. It's one of the widest as well. They touch. He's still defending. Zulfikari's out. He won't win 3 in a row. Bosco goes through. Zulfikari heartbreakingly into the wall. He's out. Eiley Christian has also had a moment. Arias Bosco on his way to victory. Down into La Foresteria, into the hotel hairpin for the final time. They scatter, they fight for the final step of the podium. Out front, the checkered flag waves. Vamos! Arias Bosco, the Spaniard, wins here at Franciacorta. Dean the Dutchman on the podium in P2. And Sheyu Shen takes the final step in third place. Badeshkin, lucky to hold on to it. He was in the grass in the final corner. Comes across the line in P7, just ahead of the Romanian Bogdan Cosmo Christopher. Bosco wins. Heartbreak for Zulfikari. Iskander Zulfikari into the wall and out from the highest of highs with a victory at Lonato. to the lowest of lows after what happened in his home country of Turkey a day after that victory. And now he ends the race here in Franciacorta in the wall. Zulfikari does not finish. Contact, they went wheel to wheel. Racing incident, Arias Bosco has taken the victory by 1.7 seconds over Dean Hugendorn. Sheyu Shan for AV Racing in position 3. Ivanenkov, Barghouti P5. Ahead of Bruno Gric, Bereshkin, Cosmo Christopher, Kalija, and Waltz, the American, in position 10. Well, absolute heartbreak for Iskander Zulfikari. It's hard to stay on the top of Mount Everest forever. He's ended the race in the wall. He will be back for round 3 of the Supermaster Series at Sano, but it's a disappointing weekend for the Turk. Congratulations, though, to Arias Bosco. The Spaniard wins from Dean the Dutchman and Shen in 3rd place. Stay with us on WSK.IT, the podium presentation for 60 Mini in just a moment.
I feel like I linger between the words to say the words to remember. Now we're here to take control over your body and over your soul. We're gonna take back everything and lose it all, lose it all, lose it all. Feel it in your arms, feel it in your legs, feel it on your fingertips and feel it in your head. Just let your body go, just let your body go, just let your body go and move to the rhythm.
for the under 10, or for the mini final, I should say, for 60 Mini. It was a brilliant race, as it always is. In third place from the People's Republic of China, Jiyu Shen. Second place, van the Netherlands for the Kiddix Driver Academy, Dean the Dutchman Hugenton. The winner of round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series here at Franciacorta, the Spaniard, Arias Bosco. The third place trophy to Jiyu Shen of China. Second place, Dean Hugenton van the Netherlands. The winner of round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series here at Franciacorta, the Spaniard, Arias Bosco. The national anthem of Spain. The podium for the 60 Mini final here at Franciacorta. Third place, Jiyu Shen. Second, Dean Hugenton. Arias Bosco wins here at Franciacorta. Congratulations to Jiyu Shen, Dean Hugenton and Arias Bosco. Let's step in for a quick word with the race winner, Arias Bosco. Quite simply, how did you do that? What happened on the last lap there with his counter?
A difficult race, but in the last lap I overtake Zulfikari, and thanks for the team driver, thanks for Carlos, my father or my family to help me, and I'm very happy.
Congratulations, Arias, also to Jiyu Shen, and of course, Dean on the podium. Stay with us on WSK.it. We continue racing live from Franciacorta in just a moment. Back here at Franciacorta, the KZ2 final in just a moment. We had an incredible situation in qualifying, which we'll get to throughout the course of our races. The karts line up on the grid with two drivers taking identical times or recording identical times in qualifying. One of them has come out on top after the end of the heats and will start on pole position for the final. He's driving a Tony kart. His name is Tom Luyer. Did take pole position on Friday with identical times to King Nakamura Berta for the Prema Power team before we race the final. Over 16 laps here for the very first time at Franciacorta, one of the fastest circuits in the world. Let's take a look at some of the spectacular highlights live from here in the north of Italy, round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series. The sun is shining here at Franciacorta, which is in stark contrast to the heavy fog. It was a London P Super here in the north of Italy this morning for round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series. So much so that we had to abandon free practice and the official warm-up. We went straight into the pre-finals. Now we're ready to race the KZ2 final. Do you remember Jerez, Spain, the Spanish, or maybe it was the European Formula One Grand Prix back in 1990? I don't know. I think it was 1997. The point being, Jacques Villeneuve, Damon Hill and Michael Schumacher all set identical times in qualifying. We had the same situation on Friday. Tom Luyer, 45.936. King Nakamura Berta, 45.936. Identical times. Tom Luyer was awarded pole position after qualifying courtesy of his next best fastest lap. Identical times down to the 1,000th in Nakamura Berta. the Japanese world champion on the world debut for the Prema Racing team. Fastest in his group in qualifying, has had a tough run through the heats, particularly launching the 170 IAME-powered Prema Kart Republic off the line. No problems for the more experienced Tom Luyet, who did have one DNF into the grass, as you saw on our highlights, the 110 Tony Kart, but has fought back with a couple of heat wins and starts on pole position for the KZ2 final. The Franciacorta circuit, there is the graphic on your screen, one of the fastest circuits in the world. The Franciacorta track, reconstructed in 2020, a lap distance of 1,301 metres, an average speed for KZ2, average this is 102 k's an hour, a top speed 148 k's an hour for the KZ2 karts, not on the start-finish straight, where the karts are lined up now, but down on the back straight, down towards the still being constructed La Foresteria, the hotel, into the hotel hairpin where they disappear out of sight. An average speed of over 100 k's an hour. It is frighteningly fast, particularly for these KZ2 karts, as you're about to see in just a moment. Tom Luyet on pole position to the left of your screen. There is the green flag. Christian Cannibal Bertuca to the right. Let's take a look at the grid. The Tony Kart Racing Team driver starts out of grid 1. Bertuca out of 2. Dena Palomba on the second row. Marek Scriven and Thomas Humberg. We go to Fast Freddy out of 7. His teammate Alessio Piccini out of 8. Alex Marigliano and Jean Nomblot on the 5th row of the grid. Senna Van Wallstein, the reigning champion for CPV Sport Sodi Kart, on the 6th row of the grid, together with the Jamaican sensation. That's Alex Powell for the Prema Racing team. Chalenta and Powell's teammate KNB in Nakamura Berta out of 14. Longi Hilbrand for the Birilat team. Vasile, Jean Luyet, Maxim Orlov with a heat win out of 19. And then we go to Matteo Spiegel, Leopardi, Valentino Fritsch, Dale, Norton Andreasen was consistently quick in the top 3, but had a DNF. That puts him back to 24, as did Viganol out of 25. The Russian German Fortev, still Yevon David ahead of the world champion Lorenzo Travisanuto, Zanki, Ebner, Jenis Civico, Dominic Reuters, Martinez, Slavik Podyatin, and Flint Shurik. Slavik Podyatin, remember the season opener, the Ukrainian for LA Motorsport in the Falcon Kart, finished on the podium. Standing on the top step that day in the WSK Champions Cup on January 29th, the first event of 2023, was of course Christian Bertuca, who also won a week later, 2 weeks ago, round 1 of the WSK Supermaster Series. So Christian Bertuca leads the championship on 69 points, over Emilian Denner on 48 points. Daniel Vasile, remember the Romanian, was the fastest qualifier, 1:04. That was at the first round of the series in Lonato. Vasile, the 6-time Romanian Masters champion, starting a little bit further back on the grid than he would have liked on the 9th row alongside Jean Luyet. 1-1-2 for the Tony Kart Racing team. There is the still being constructed La Foresteria out of the hotel hairpin, and then the launch uphill to turn 1 and 2 of this fantastic Franciacorta circuit. The red flag, the 4 red lights. Welcome to Franciacorta. Round 2 of the 2023 WSK Supermaster Series for the very first time at the Franciacorta World Karting Circuit in the north of Italy. Tom Luyet to the left of your screen on pole position. Christian Cannibal Bertuca to the right, the championship leader. The red flag, the 4 red lights. We race. Great start from Tom Luyet, who puts the 110 Tony Kart in the middle of the circuit, But he's got the Birol Arts breathing down his neck together with Emilian Denner in the Sodi Kart. They go through turns 1, 2 and 3 without problem for the first time. 3 wide down the hill into turn 4. Tom Louillet has just got the race lead from Emilian Denner. So it's Denner from the second row of the grid who just follows the pole sitter through. That is not what Tom would have wanted. The French drivers go first and second, but Denner for the CPB Sports Sodi Kart team. Remember, they are the reigning champions with Senna Van Wallstein. They go down the back straight for the first time into the hotel hairpin. They blast across the line. Tom in position 1. Denner in P2. Watch Il Napolitano. That's Palomba in third place. Right behind him is Bertuca. The other driver to watch out for is in position 5. His name, Alex Marigliano. He's driving the Maranello. Remember, they finished on the podium with David Trefeloff on the very last lap in round 1 as Denner goes down the inside. Palomba does not need to be asked twice. He makes contact. Palomba and Denner are out. Oh no, what a disaster for Il Napolitano and Denner. Contact further back in the pack as well. We had a clean start, but now we've lost 2 of the front runners. Ricardo Longhi's also out. That's Longhi at the top, at the right of your screen. Longhi, the former WSK Euro Series champion, is out. Tommy's gone. That has advantaged the Frenchman, the pole sitter, big time. Emilian Denner and Giuseppe Palomba are both out. Well, the move was on in the early stages of the race. 2 of the toughest drivers in World KZ2. The yellow flag is still flying. Neither of them were going to give. And they both came together in spectacular fashion. Denner has stepped out of his kart. He walks back to the pits. There he is to the right of your screen. It's a long walk for the Frenchman. The CPB Sports Sodi Kart driver is out. Bertuca into position 2. There is Marigliano. We told you to watch out for the Sicilian SRP Maranello of Alex Marigliano. Position 3 for the driver who won the WSK Final Cup to finish 2022. He won the pre-final at Lonato, and now he's looking to win the final here this afternoon. Christian Cannibal Bertuca, the championship lead, down the inside. Oh, wow. He closes the door on the Sicilian. Look who's come to fight. That is the reigning champion. I should say the reigning champion, Senna. Sends it down the inside. Van Wallstein up into P3. Alex Marigliano, one of the raciest drivers. He's got some spark about him. Half a chance, just like that, and he'll dive down the inside of the reigning champion. Senna closes the door. Watch Fast Freddy around the outside, but it didn't work for him. He runs into the back. Sorry, Thomas Humberg runs into the back of the Englishman. A messy start for the KZ2 final, but Tom, all the while, is pulling away. The Frenchman, 1-1-0 in the Tony Kart. The gap is 0.4 of a second to Christian Bertuca, the championship leader. As now we finally settle into something of a rhythm. Tom Louillet from pole position. The gap, 0.54 of a second as they race down the fastest part of the circuit, almost touching 150 k's an hour. Marigliano gathers himself back up. He's in position 4. Trying to chase down and pass the Sodi Kart once again. Senna in P3. Christian, second place. Tom in the Tony Kart leads. Kim Nakamura-Berta, incidentally, has had an issue off screen. The Japanese Prema driver, the former world champion, is down in 32nd position, but he's just done a 46.4, which is 0.3 of a second faster than the drivers on your screen who lead the race. The gap, 0.49 of a second between the Frenchman and the Italian here at Franciacorta. Wow, let's take a breath. Contact between Palomba, who has continued on, incidentally. Denner is out. Jenna Civico has also retired. Lorenzo Travisanuto, the WSK Supermaster Series champion in OK with Ward Racing from 2016. He's out, as is the Dutchman Flint Shooting. Palomba has managed to keep going. Incredibly, Il Napolitano is in 11th place and keeps his championship hopes alive, trying to salvage some points here this afternoon. The gap, 0.4 of a second between Tom and Christian. Senna in third. Marigliano has just dropped off the Dutchman for the moment. And then Slater, who had a Frenchman with nowhere to go. Slater was trying to capitalise out of the hairpin where they're approaching now. Cannot really apportion blame to anybody. Slater was trying to go past, and Thomas simply had an Englishman in front of him. They made contact, but they have continued on. Freddie in 5, Thomas in 6, and it's Chalenta, Piccini, Viganò, Marek Scriven on the podium in the WSK Final Cup. Here's the Czech in position 10, Palomba Facile, Noblo, Spiegel, and the Jamaican Alex Powell for the Prema Racing Team in position 15. 0.58 of a second now. Tom Luyer, the Vortex-powered Tony Kart. Let's not forget the engine battle as well. TM, Victi Racing for Christian. And of course the factory tune, Vortex, on the Tony Kart Racer 401 of the Frenchman down into the hairpin, down through the gearbox. Here is Marigliano. Will have another crack at the reigning champion, Senna van Wallstein, who missed the first round of the championship at Lonato 2 weeks ago, still racing in absolute agony with a dislocated shoulder, but he's still on the podium in position 3. Marigliano, and then Slater, who was on the podium in second place after taking pole position in his first ever KZ2 race at Lonato in the Champions Cup. He's in P5 at the moment. The field spread out. Karts littered around the circuit. Long is out, as is the driver from Procart Wackersdorf Raceland, the German Valentino Fritsch. Down the back straight, the gap is out to 0.7 of a second. Kin Nakamura Berta in position 24 continues to light up the timing screens. He's just got by Slavik Putyatin, Dominic Reuters, Daniel Stell and Moritz Hebner. And now he's behind the Prussian Andrea Dahle. 0.9 of a second now between Tom and Christian. Victory in the WSK Champions Cup for Bertucca. Victory in round 1 of the WSK Supermaster Series for the Italian. But unless he can do something spectacular in the remaining third of the final here this afternoon, it'll be the runner-up position as we race at Franciacorta for the very first time. Down into La Foresteria. Accelerates. 4th, 5th, and 6th gear right under the bridge. Up into turn 1, the gap, 0.935. It stays the same. Again, Kin Nakamura Berta stuck in 23rd position, but he's done another purple sector. He's behind the Sri Lankan now, Yevan David, who was running in the top 3 in the heats when he was going, but had a couple of incidents, which has put the young Asian driver way down the field. Yevan David from Colombo in Sri Lanka, south of the subcontinent, the island nation at the top of the Indian Ocean. Yevan David behind the Brescian, Andrea Dahle, Matteo Zanchi and Pedro Hilbrand, the 2016 world champion. Would you believe he's down in 19th place? They come across the line, the gap, 0.93 of a second, 1.2. Bertucca is losing touch with the race leader. There is Senna van Wallstein. Slater into 4 because Alex Marigliano joins the long list of retirements as well. The Sicilian is out. Slater now a step off the podium. Behind him, Francesco Chalenta. And Senna definitely trying to ruin the perfect start to the season for Christian Il Cannibal. Testing in Formula 4 and Formula 3 over the winter break, over Christmas, with an eye to joining us for the 10th season of the world's most competitive junior motor racing series. The 10th anniversary year of the Italian F4 Championship, as ever presented by WSK Promotion. For the moment, he's concentrating on the WSK Supermaster Series, and he's concentrating on keeping the reigning champion, Senna van Wallstein, behind. That's Slater coming for the both of them. Dives down the inside into turn 4. Christian closes the door. The gap is 1.4 seconds. Tom from pole position for the Tony Kart Racing Team is pulling away. Slater almost already on the back of Senna. Watch diving down the hill. Not close enough. Out of turns 10, 11, and into the hotel hairpin. Looks over his shoulder once, looks over his shoulder twice. And Senna just follows the Italian. The Englishman, Fast Freddy P4. The Birolat to fight with the Soddy Kart imminently. The Tony Kart surely on his way to victory. Senna simply says move on over, and Christian taps him in the back. He's not happy with that. Senna waves, Christian does not care. Watch Slater on the outside of his teammate. Behind him, Francesco Cialenta. It is on for the final steps of the podium. Tom is gone. Mouillet in the Tony Kart, the Frenchman, on his way to victory here on lap 14 of 16. The KZ2 final for the first time at Franciacorta. They go down the back straight, 148 k's an hour now. Senna van Walstein punches a hole in the air. But Christian Bertucca and the reigning champion back into P2. Cialenta, watch him on the back of Fast Freddy. Third ever KZ2 race for the former junior world champion. He's a second Birolat. He's a step off the podium. Has to defend from Cialenta, who just sends it down the inside of turn 4. Eccellente Francesco Cialenta. Super pass from the Italian. Just lined up Freddy and sent it. Ole vinco, ole capoto per Francesco Cialenta. That was a sensational pass. He was either going to pass him or end up in the wall. Senna van Walstein down through the gearbox. Last lap of the race. Le dernier tour pour Tom. Senna in second. Bertucca, Cialenta, and Freddie Slater. .3 seconds for Tom Mouillet. Equal fastest qualifier with King Nakamura on Friday. But then put it all together in the heats and in the pre-final. Birolat have dominated the start of KZ2 for 2023. Not today, the green team are back. Tom accelerates into the hotel hairpin for the final time down through the gearbox. The green team back on top. Tom Mouillet for the Tony Kart racing team wins here at Franciacorta. What a victory from Tom. Across the line, the reigning champion Senna van Walstein and the championship leader Christian Bertucca in P3. Senna, remember coming from grid 12, Cialenta just misses the podium after starting 15th on the grid. That was a stunning drive. But the day belongs to the Tony Kart racing team and Tom Mouillet. Super victory. And Senna van Walstein may have missed the first round, but he's back on the podium in P2. Tom Mouillet wins it for the Tony Kart racing team and La France. Senna van Walstein P2. Christian Cannibal Bertucca still leading the championship on 149 points over Tom Mouillet on 119, courtesy of his third place here today. Cialenta, Slater, Thomas Hamburg. Superb drive off screen from Matteo Vigano, who came from way back on the back of the grid. He passed 18 karts in 16 laps to finish 7th from Piccini, Scriven, and a recovery for Giuseppe Palombo, who picks up a point going into his home race at Sarno in 2 weeks' time. Tom wins from pole position for the Tony Kart racing team. Stay with us on WSK.IT and also on Motorsport TV, the KZ2 podium live from Franciacorta in just a moment. the podium for KZ2 about to get underway here at Franciacorta. Who can believe the fog here this morning at the Northern Italian circuit? A beautiful sunny day here at Franciacorta as we race for the very first time. Of course, we'll see you at Circuito Internazionale Napoli, simply known as Sarno, for round 3 of the WSK Supermaster Series in exactly 2 weeks from now. Christian Senna, and we wait for the race winner, Le Vainqueur, Tom, for the Tony Kart racing team to make his way up to the podium. The green team back on top after Christian Caribol dominates the Champions Cup round 1 of the series as well for the Birolard team, but not today. Tom Douillet taking the victory back to the Tony Kart racing team. We just wait for him to emerge from Parc Fermé. Yes, 2 weeks today we go to Sarno, Circuito Internazionale Napoli, the series final at Cremona on the 30th of April. That will be the 22nd circuit the WSK has ever raced at. And of course, the WSK Open Series kicks off just up the highway at South Garda Karting Lonato on the 12th day of April. The OK final to come from Franciacorta after the podium for KZ2 as we wait. Attendons Monsieur Luyet, le vainqueur pour l'équipe Tony, ici à Franciacorta. Il arrive, le vainqueur, Tom. And with that, we're ready to get underway with the podium. The KZ2 podium for round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series. He dominated the Champions Cup. He won round 1. Doesn't win today, but he does still lead the series. In 3rd place for Birolard, Christian Caribol Bertuca. Missed the first round due to injury, but he's back. The reigning champion, the Dutchman for CPB Sports Tony Kart, Senna van Wolstein. The winner of round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series for the Tony Kart racing team from La France, Tom Luyet. The 3rd place trophy to Christian Bertuca, the Birolard racing team of Italia. 2nd place, van the Netherlands, Senna van Wolstein. Le vainqueur pour la France for the Tony Kart racing team, Tom Luyet. The national anthem of France. The KZ2 podium, the final here this afternoon. 3rd place, Christian Bertuca. 2nd, Senna van Wolstein. Tom Luyet wins here at Franciacorta.
Grazie Christian, dank u wel Senna. Super, félicitations, Tom Luyet, le vainqueur. Tom made a brilliant week. Equal fastest qualifying time with Kim Nakamura-Berta on Friday, but from there you disappeared. You had a brilliant weekend and a deserving victory here this afternoon. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a really good weekend. All the team make a good job, so thanks everyone. See you at the next one.
Merci tant et félicitations encore. Stay with us on WSK.it. The OK final live from Franciacorta in just a moment.
Back here at Franciacorta, we have had a brilliant weekend of racing so far. This is a record-breaking event. 361 drivers from 53 nations all around the world, and we are ready to race the OK final. This will be absolute dynamite in just a moment. Before we do race, let's take a look at some of the highlights of OK from Franciacorta this week. A brilliant weekend of racing, a record-breaking week here at Franciacorta is about to conclude with what promises to be a dynamic and absolutely thrilling OK final in just a moment. We'll take a look at the grid for you. There is David Walter behind the graphic of this 1,301 metre circuit. We'd like to thank Stefano, Raffaella and all the team here at the Franciacorta circuit for bending over backwards to host us. It has been a record-breaking weekend. 361 drivers from 53 nations, the biggest event in the 18-year history of WSK promotion, and it is about to conclude with fireworks. David Walter will start on pole position. Do you remember 2 weeks ago at Lonato? He was supposed to start and fight for the win, but he was out on the roll-up laps. Be assured he will not make the same mistake twice. He's to the left of your screen, just a few moments before the start. Great to have your company here at the Franciacorta circuit. Winter is nearly behind us, although you wouldn't believe it with the heavy fog that rolled in this morning in the north of Italy. From 2 weeks from now, we go to Circuito Internazionale Napoli, simply known as Sano, for round 3 of the 2023 WSK Supermaster Series. The championship, which is in the past has had such great champions, the likes of Moraine Kramers, Marco Ardigo, Nicholas Nielsen, Dexter Patterson, Rafael Kamada, not to mention the likes of Rashid Al-Daheri, Antonio Giovinazzi, Lando Norris, and Nick De Vries, to name just a few. The 14-year history of the WSK Supermaster Series, and this is the biggest event ever. The OK final 36 karts are on the circuit, one of the fastest tracks in the world now. OK doing a top speed of 100, or recording a top speed through the speed trap on the telemetry of around about 133, maybe 134 k's an hour, with a push and a slipstream down the back straight, not the start-finish straight. Still quite quick on the start-finish straight where the drivers are. We'll take a look at the grid for you in just a moment. Here is the green flag. David Walter from pole position, the Great Dane, 201 to start out of grid 1. René Lammers, a tough run for the Dutchman at Lonato, but boy, has he found some speed here this afternoon. Van Zandvoort, he starts out of grid 2. The boy from Bangkok, Thailand, the Red Bull Junior. By the way, thanks for the can, Enzo, earlier on today. It's kept me going through a very big day here. Powered by Red Bull here in the commentary box. He starts alongside Emanuele Olivieri in the 222 Formula K. Enzo for the Prema Power team. Jimmy Helias, Keanu Bloom, James Agozzi, the round 1 winner. Shimo Chung, the boy from Brazil, Gabriel Gomez, and Kirill Kutskov. JT from MK, just won in the USA 7 days ago. Starts alongside Marcus Sartre, of course. Joseph is the reigning Supermaster Series champion. Simone Bianco, Dino Staroescu, Louis Iglesias, and Maciej Guadic. Dante Vinci, Ferrari FM, Jakob Kamenik, Guillaume Butzar, and Luigi Carluccio. Jan Puchui, also for the Prema Racing team. Luke Salmalisto, Kovisto Stoltemanes, Nicholas Roos from Vereniging in South Africa. William Go, Andrea Dupé, Poulan, Nathan Tai, and Jules Caranta. Adam Hideg, Yannick Shirowski, Anatoly Kavalkin, Newman Chi, Luviwe Sampudla, and also for Ricky Flynn Motorsport, the Belgian, Thomas Strauvaner. The Great Dane on pole position. We don't race. Another formation lap under the direction of our race director, Mr. Alessandro Ferrari. No bad thing as we warm up the LeConte tyres. It's only 12 degrees Celsius. I tell a lie, it's gone up to 13. It's almost springtime. Surprisingly undulating is this 1,301 metre circuit as they race down the hill now. By the way, personally, I'd like to thank the 4-time world champion, Davide Forte, for lending me his bike to do a lap last night. He doesn't know he lent it to me, but it was certainly easier than walking around the 1.3 kilometre circuit. David Walter is about to light up this track, and they're going to lap in less than 50 seconds. Slows it up, aggressively warms the LeConte tyres. No problem for the Dane this time, after that costly error at Lonato 2 weeks ago. The 21st circuit that WSK Promotion has ever raced at in its 18-year history. They come out of La Foresteria. Welcome to Franciacorta, round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series. We race. René Lammers has missed the start badly. The Dutchman on the outside holds it high, and he's managed to come out of turn 2 in position 3. Jimmy Le Fantastique Super. And the Frenchman who finished on the podium in the last round, the first round in fact at Lonato, has rocketed up into position 3. There is the Ward Racing driver as they go down the hill for the first time. Simone Bianco's out. That was the CRG that you saw spearing off. He's attempting to restart. That's so disappointing. We were expecting fireworks for the CRG team. He has rejoined. He will, I promise you, light up the timing screens, but he's down in 35th position. Luviwe Sampudla is also out. We're down to one South African in the form of the other CRG of Nicholas Roos. Enzo in P2, Jimmy in P3, Jimmy up the inside, hell yes! Oh, what a move from the Frenchman! Goes into second place. Jimmy Elias. Well, he was on the podium in his first ever senior race. That was the WSK Final Cup at the end of 2022 at Sano, where we race in 2 weeks' time. He finished in P3 in the first round of the series. Jimmy Le Fantastique du Paris en France. Deuxième place. Second place for the Frenchman for the Swedish World Racing Team. He goes by the Red Bull Junior in the world debut for the Premier Racing Team in WSK. It's Enzo Tavanishkul. Olivieri in the Formula K is right behind the boy from Bangkok, Thailand. Olivieri so quick this morning in the pre-final, and he sends it up the inside. Enzo on the outside takes him back on the exit. What a repass from Tavanishkul. Was tolerating zero from the Italian, who was full of confidence after a pre-final victory this morning. Olivieri thought for a moment he was up on the podium. Not so fast. Enzo takes him back. Rene Lammers starting to recover from a poor start, which was almost inevitable. Starting on the outside of the double right-hander, going down into turns 1 and 2. Van Zandvoort in P4 with Olivieri right behind him. Watch the Italian. Rene knows it though, and covers his line. So we start lap 4. David Walter, P1, Jimmy Elias. 7/10 of a second, but Jimmy with a 47.489 is 2/10 of a second faster than David Walter. The gap, 0.729. We'll check it next time round. As Nicholas Roos, unfortunately, the South African comes into the pits to retire. The CRG team, they promised so much. They're still in position 9 with Louis Le Petit Iglesias. He's in P9, but we're down Simone Bianco, and now Nicholas Roos is out as well. A purple sector now for David Walter. The Tony Kart's running 1 and 2. Here's Enzo, the former Tony Kart driver. Of course, he won the World Championship with the green team. Now in the world debut of the Premier Racing Team in the Miami-powered Kart Republic. Lammers, Olivieri, JT from MK now for KR. The reigning champion, his first European race for the Kart Republic team for 2023. He's in P6. 7 days after he wrapped up the SCUSA Winter Series at Miami, Florida, driving the DAP. He's in P6. He's come from grid 11. You'd expect nothing left from Joseph. Behind him, though, the fastest driver on the circuit is Guillaume Butzard. Dust in the background. I'll tell you who that was from in just a moment as we concentrate on the fight for the lead. The gap comes down ever so slightly last time. It was 0.706. This time, it's 0.5. Jimmy's coming on strong. Thomas Stralvan, the Belgian, that was the driver who kissed the dust at the exit, coming onto the straight a few moments ago. And Stralvan joins the list of retirements, which now includes 2 CRGs. The gap is 0.572 of a second, a 46.986. Jimmy in second place, the only driver under the 47-second bracket here at Franciacorta. He's finished on the podium twice in 3 of his senior OK races. The Parisian, who is mentored by the Alpine F1 driver Esteban Ocon, is in second place, and he's catching the pole sitter, David Walter. The gap 0.572 last time. It stays, would you believe, identical. 0.5 again. Gabriel Gomez, the Brazilian, in the remaining CRG on the outside of the top 10. He does a 46.870. And Joseph goes past Rene Lammers. JT from MK in the KR, now in position 5, the reigning champion. We'll concentrate on the battle for the lead. Not a good first sector that time for Jimmy Elias. The second sector is super quick. He'll get almost the slipstream down the back straight. There's Olivieri. in P4, just behind Tavanishkul. The gap last time is 0.512. We'll check it as they come across the line to start lap 8. 0.549. Another purple lap for Jimmy. He's catching him. Joseph goes purple as well. Trying to go past Olivieri in the Formula K for position 4. Tavanishkul, the Red Bull Junior in the Prema Racing Team Kart Republic, is still on the podium. Here we go, the second half of the OK final, racing for the very first time at the Franciacorta circuit in the north of Italy. Down the hill, he's almost close enough to get the slipstream a slightly wider line from Jimmy. Both driving Tony Kart Racer 401 karts. David Walter with the one engine's tuned Vortex. And of course, Joachim Ward working his magic on Jimmy's kart, the Vortex. On the Tony Kart, the gap, 0.4. Now Rene Lammers in P6 with the 46.685. Everyone inside the top 6 has put in a purple sector at some point in the first half of the race. Good sector this time from Jimmy. Enzo being caught by both Emanuele Olivieri in the Formula K and JT in the KR in position 5. The shadow's starting to get long here in the tail end of the Italian winter. We're just a few weeks out, thankfully, from the start of springtime here in the Northern Hemisphere. The action on track is as hot as ever. Into La Foresteria, into the Hotel Hairpin. There's Gabriel Gomez in the CRG and his CRG teammate, Louis Iglesias. They're both inside the top 10. A 46.585. The gap still stays 0.4 of a second. Fastest lap that time for Lammers, still on the back of Joseph Turney. This is where Jimmy's quick in the middle part of the circuit, the Tony Kart Racer 401. Double R chassis, run 1 and 2. Enzo in the Prema Kart Republic in third. That was Olivieri behind him. The gap between the Thai and the Italian is 0.2 of a second. Joseph in P5. We go to Lammers Agozzi, the round 1 winner. And from grid 19, Guillaume Boutsar in position 8. His teammate leads the race. Elias catching something there. Good acceleration, good clean line. That time from David Walter, head down behind the steering wheel. We start lap 11. The gap stays the same. This is going to come down to the dying stages. The two private teams, David Walter for Koski Motorsport and Jimmy Elias for Ward Racing. The Dane for the Finnish team of Jan Koski. Jimmy Elias, the French team for the French driver for the Swedish team of Joachim Ward, although they do both work together quite closely. Enzo for the Factory Kart Republic team. Olivieri for the Factory Formula K team. Being caught by the Kart Republic driver, Joseph Turney, who makes a move into La Foresteria. Time is running out for Jimmy. Moved down the inside by Jan Puhui, taking his countryman Shimo Zhang for 16th place. Still 0.4 of a second. Jimmy needs to do something spectacular, but David wants the victory, the WSK Champions Cup champion. Such disappointment for the Dane after going out in the formation lap of the 2023 season opener of the Supermaster Series. Started from pole position. He is a class act. The Champions Cup champion in position 1, Jimmy, on the podium in 2 of his 3 senior OK races. It looks as though that'll be 3 out of 4, but will it be the top step? It may well be, because he takes another 10th out of David Walter, almost close enough to get the slipstream. Still the Tony Karts run 1 and 2. Tavanishkul P3, Turney, Lammers, Olivieri back to 6. Here we go, settle in for a nail-biting finish to the OK final, round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series for the very first time at Franciacorta. They go down the hill out of turns 9, 10, 11 onto the back straight, the fastest part of the circuit, 133 k's an hour. Jimmy looks behind. He'll get confidence knowing that Enzo is too far back to attack. 1.3 seconds between the Frenchman and the Red Bull Junior in the Prema Kart Republic. 3 laps now remaining. The gap 0.4 of a second. David surely has got this one under control. Jimmy driving the wheels off the Ward Racing Tony Kart. 2.5 laps remaining. The green machines for the different teams run 1 and 2. Koski Motorsport first with David Walter. Jimmy Helias for Ward Racing in second place. Two young talents not long out of the junior category, and the same for the third place driver on the world debut for the Prema Power team in WSK World Karting. There's the Red Bull Junior Enzo Tavanishkul. 2 laps now remaining. We'll check the gap. Here we go. This is the final chance for Jimmy to take the win. David desperately wants it. Still 0.4 of a second as Joseph now with a 46.4 versus a 46.7 for David Walter. JT, the reigning champion, from grid 11 up into P4. Jimmy Helias, as we mentioned just a few moments ago, is mentored by Esteban Ocon, current Formula One driver, and of course, one of 15 out of 20 drivers on the current Formula One World Championship grid to come from the world of WSK. Watching on our live coverage, Esteban, I don't think your boy's going to do it. David Walter has been superb, as has Jimmy, but the gap is 0.4 of a second as we approach the last lap of the race. This is it. Here at Franciacorta, the gap is out to 5/10 of a second. I'll get it out eventually. David Walter from pole position. A disaster going out on the formation lap at Lonato, but this afternoon, surely he will make up for it in the best possible way. He climbs the hill for the final time. The gap goes out to almost 0.6 of a second. A brilliant performance by Jimmy in second place, but it won't be enough. The Great Dane, who started from pole position, races down the hill for the final time. Accelerates 100, 110, 120, 133 k's an hour, right there into the hotel hairpin for the final time. That checkered flag is about to wave. Victory goes to the Great Dane. David Walter wins here at Franciacorta. Koski Motorsport go position 1. Jimmy Le Fantastique, deuxième place. And the boy from Bangkok, Thailand, the Red Bull Junior, Enzo Tavanishkul, on the podium in the world debut for the Prema Power team. Lemmers crosses the line, P4, just ahead of the reigning champion, Joseph Turney, in his first European race for Kart Republic. The gap at the end of the race, 0.401 of a second. Tony Karts, the private teams of Koski Motorsport and Ward Racing have beaten the factory teams here. They run 1 and 2 in the OK final, round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series here at Franciacorta. Fastest lap of the race, incidentally, Joseph Turney with a 46.455. James Zagotzi finishes in P7, but he does hold the championship lead going into Sano in 2 weeks' time. 119 points to David Walter on 91 points. Jimmy Helias on 86 points. Lammers in P4 on 73 ahead of Gomez, Wisniewski, Olivieri, and with that third place, Tavanishkul P8 in the championship. The Great Dane, David Walter, wins for Koski Motorsport. Round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series here at Franciacorta. Jimmy on the podium again, that's 3 out of 4 for the Frenchman. And Enzo Tavanishkul, the Red Bull Junior, in the world debut for the Prema Racing team in WSK World Karting in P3. Stay with us on WSK.it and also on Motorsport TV as well. The podium presentation live from Franciacorta in just a moment.
This is G House. This is G House.
The LeConte caps go on the driver's head of David, Jimmy and Enzo. And we're just a few moments away from our final podium presentation of the afternoon here at Franciacorta. A nail-biting final, and it did come down to the final laps. And he's made up for it in the best possible way. But first of all, we'll get to the third place driver. In the world debut for the Prema Racing team, the Red Bull Junior, the boy from Bangkok, Thailand, Enzo Tavanishkul. The driver to come home in position 2 has raced 4 times in OK Senior. 3 times he's now stood on the podium. In second place from La France for Ward Racing, Jimmy Elias. Immense disappointment at the first round of the series going out before the start, but boy, has he made up for it in the best possible way. The winner of round 2 of the WSK Supermasters Series, the Great Dane for Koski Motorsport, David Walter! The third place trophy to Enzo Tavanishkul of Thailand. Second place, Jimmy Le Fantastique of France in second for Ward Racing. The winner of round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series from Denmark, David Walter! The national anthem of Denmark. The podium for round 2 of the WSK Supermaster Series. Third place, Enzo Tavanishkul. Second, Jimmy Elias. And the winner here at Franciacorta, David Walter. Enzo in third, Jimmy in second, and we'll step in for a quick word with the race winner, David. Let's go back 2 weeks ago to Leonardo. Heartbreak, immense disappointment. Boy, did you make up for it here this afternoon. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great one to come back on. I'm so proud of everything me and Koski and the team, one engine, everyone have made. Yeah, I'm so proud of myself and what we all achieved.
Congratulations, David. You should be. That was a perfect drive all weekend. Congratulations. Third place, Enzo Tavanishkul, the Red Bull Junior, by the way. Thanks to your mum for the can of Red Bull earlier. It kept me going. In the world debut of the Prema Power team, Jimmy Le Fantastique Deuxième Place, and the winner here from Denmark, David Walter. That wraps up everything from Franciacorta, a record-breaking weekend, 361 drivers from 53 different nations. From here we go to the south of Italy. Look at this, the sun is shining. Winter is almost over here in the Northern Hemisphere. We'll see you at Circuito Internazionale Napoli, simply known as Sarno, for round 3 of the WSK Supermaster Series. See you at Sarno in 2 weeks.